Hi, and welcome to your second art tutorial of the semester. For this assignment, you're going to need a pencil, your journal, and possibly an eraser. We'll keep that at the side. Today, we're going to be continuing working with cubes. And specifically, we're going to be talking about how to draw a grid on a cube. Let's start off by simply drawing a grid on a square to get an idea of what we're doing. So you're going to begin just by drawing a square. Once you have your square, the grid that we're going to be working with is going to be in thirds. So we want to divide this into thirds, horizontally and vertically. The way that I like to do this is I like to eyeball it. So when I am eyeballing thirds, I like to look at 1/3 like so, and remember that this side is going to be cut in half to get my second thirds. Sometimes it's a good idea to draw markers where your thirds are going to be approximately, then to draw your thirds. So now that I have my markers, I'm going to go ahead and draw my thirds going all the way down to the bottom of my square. Notice that my vertical lines are parallel to the edges of my square. Now we're going to draw the horizontal lines, exactly how we draw the vertical ones. Whenever I come to a place where I notice that it's awkward for me to move my hand or to draw a line, this is a really great opportunity for you to turn your journal or your paper in such a way that it's easy for you to draw the line. It's much easier for me to draw vertical lines than it is horizontal when my arm is pressed up against my body. So I am going to turn my page so that my horizontal lines end up becoming vertical lines. And then it's much easier for me to draw them. Now, we have a very basic grid set up on our square. We're going to work with this square and turn it into a cube. And then from there, continue our grid onto the other sides of the cube. I'm going to start by erasing some of these extra lines that I had on the edges. Now, I'm going to draw lines coming off of the 3 corners of my square. These 3 lines that you've drawn should all be parallel to each other. A good way to check this is to place your pencil against the middle one and make sure that these lines line up with it. Now that we've done that, we're going to connect these points together. So draw a line going down and a line going across. Those 2 lines should be parallel with the lines already on your square. Now that we've done this, we're going to continue this grid onto these other 2 surfaces of our cube. We're going to begin by taking these lines right here and continuing them onto this new surface. Since these lines are moving onto this surface, we need to make sure that since these are parallel with this line, now they're going to be parallel with this line, which means that they're going to be angled. So we are going to angle our lines like so and draw them all the way to the furthest edge. Next, we're going to take these lines and continue them onto this surface. Just like with these lines up here, these are going to be angled upwards so that they remain parallel to these lines. Now that we've done that, we're going to add the parallel lines that go down like so and across like so. I'm going to start with the lines that are on this surface. Now remember, we're dividing our cube up into 3 equal portions. So what I want to do is I want to look at this line right here and divide it into 3 portions, just like I did with this first square. So I'm going to make a little marker there and a little marker there. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and draw those lines going straight up, keeping them parallel with this line that I already have. Now that I've done that, those have conveniently placed 2 points onto this cube that I can then pull across here. Remember that since we're going this way, these top lines should be parallel with this line right here. And that is how you get a fairly accurate grid onto a cube. What I'd like for you to do now is to take 3 angles from your previous assignment and redraw those cubes. Once you've redrawn them, I want you to add this grid onto the cubes that you've redrawn. They can be any of the angles of your choice. I am going to work with the first one that we did, where we begin with a line going straight down, and then one coming up like so, and then one an equal distance on the opposite side, and then connecting these bottom lines to make our first side, and then connecting on this side, and then adding a top plane. Now that I've done this, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start from this side and add where I think my thirds are going to be. Again, we're just eyeballing this. It's not going to be perfection. Now that I've eyeballed that, I'm going to make sure that my line is parallel with the bottom line and draw it all the way across. And then I'm going to draw the next one over here. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and continue this line across to here. And then again, right here. Now that I've done that, I'm going to divide this and this into thirds. I think my thirds are around here, and then here, and here. Now that we've drawn those sides, I'm going to pull these lines across the top edge of my cube. So I'm going to begin with this one and make sure that it is parallel to this edge of my cube, and then this one, and make sure that it is parallel to that. And then I'm going to continue on this side. Now I notice that this is a little bit of an awkward angle for me to draw at, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this. And then I will draw that line. And with this one, I'm making sure this line is parallel to that line right there. So it goes in the same direction. And then this one will go in the same direction as that one. Like so. And now that we've done that, we have a grid drawn on that cube. It's the same grid divided into thirds, but the cube is at a different angle. So now that we've drawn 2 different angles of our cube, I would like for you to go into your previous assignment and choose 2 more angles and apply the grid to those 2 separate angles of your cube. Remember, go slow and above all, have fun.